Hi everyone, this is CherryEnchantress with a flip through review of a deck that I made, and I'm so excited. It's finally here. I've been working on the CherryEnchantress LENORMAND for a long time, and even when I got it done and I felt like it was ready, I was having trouble with the final stages of it, getting the right box, getting it bought and put in the mail and all of that. Well, finally it's here, and so it came from makeplayingcards.com. Yes, there it is. If you guys have any creative ideas, I recommend them. They're really easy to work with, and they have a very simple template that you can use to make your own cards. And along with this order, I went ahead and bought like this little sample packet of cardstock. So if you will indulge me, let's look at this together, the different thicknesses. So for future decks, I can decide what kind of thickness and card finish I want to use. And yeah, I'm just gonna get this plastic off. By the way, happy St. Nicholas Day. I'm filming this on December 6th, which is a holiday I used to, well, I still celebrate, but I celebrated it first in Germany because that was our Nicholas Day, was our kind of thing, Christmas. Well, we celebrated Christmas as well in Germany, but all right, so interesting. I feel this one first. This is the Eco Heritage cardstock. And it has, it's kind of matte, but it's thin-ish. Okay, let's go this way then. Make Playing Cards is really kind of more focused on playing cards, of course, but they have all kinds of different sizes and different game sizes, game packages that you can deal with. Oh, and there's two of these. Okay, two. They send us two of each. So this one is the standard linen. This is what I use sometimes because it's just cheaper. But then I also use the finer one. Here's another one. They're all kind of the same. So, oh, and this one's a little thicker. This is professional standard cardstock, okay? And it's a little smoother, shinier. Yeah. The weight, just a little bit heavier, the S30. Here's something a little bit thinner. Plastic card finish. This is one of the very first ones I used, thinking this would be more protective and sturdier, but it was not. It's flimsier. So it's kind of good stuff to know, I guess. Ooh, what's this one? Linen Air Light. This is nice. But they're all, I was looking for one that's more like that, and then they're just different weights, I guess, the M32. I was looking for one that's a little more like Oracle weight, casino quality, but of course they're not focused on that. They're focused on playing card stock. So, oh, promotional card stock finish, pretty nice. And with the different sizes, you're not always gonna, ooh, this one's a little heavier. So this is what I usually get, Superior Smooth. My decks usually are a little bit higher, and it's a little bit thicker and sturdier. Yep. And then this one, ooh, this is the thickest of all. Thick standard cardstock. Okay, but it's not, it's not Oracle thick, but it's pretty thick. It's pretty, and it's not that bendy. A little bit bendy. I mean, it's enough to shuffle for sure, but it's a lot sturdier. So that's a possibility for the future, maybe. This kind of thick standard cardstock. I like it. But to be honest, none of them are thick like Oracle thick, and they're, like, so that's good that I, got to review this. And remember that if you do use makeplayingcards.com, that there are a variety of sizes, and the sizes don't always have every option of cardstock. I think it just depends, but most of them do, and not all the sizes have the same number of cards that you can go to, and also the colored edge. So speaking of colored edges, let me just give you an example of one of my latest projects, which is this beautiful I love this one, the way it turned out. I had to go through a little trial and error with it, but with this beautiful purple metallic, this is something that Make Playing Cards will provide you if you choose. There's lots of different colors you can choose from, but purple, I didn't know purple was going to be so beautiful, and totally is. Okay. And this one is for sale on my site if you're interested in this. And then the Romantic Fairy I did in gold. It's worn a little bit, but it's still kind of holding up, and I use this pretty religiously, so it's holding up pretty good. It gets a little dusty and a little worn on the edges. Not too bad, but I'm pretty sure this one is Superior Smooth, the best quality, right before the thick cardstock. And so these are all my most recent decks that I feel like they're the best quality so far, so good. I just keep trying to improve the quality and what you get, so this one comes with the book. I think I'm gonna do a small version of the fairy forecast with a book too, just like this one. So, and anyway, the rainbow looks really pretty. You know what? I think I'm gonna show you better how the rainbow looks. So here with the overhead light, my fluorescent light, you can really see the rainbow. Different lighting, you see the edges in a different way. Most of the time it's just kind of silver, but there you go. And you may have seen a lot of my decks with the holographic on the top, which is also really cool. And this one is, I started off with the holographic on the top, but it was hard to read. So, all right, without further ado, let's look at my beautiful new baby, the CherryEnchantress LENORMAND. Okay, so this is a real different box, and this gave me a little trouble, but there was no alternative but to use this type of box for my purpose, because I wanted a small deck, but I also wanted a book. So in my backing is really cute. I think the back of the box gives you a little sneak peek. So the CherryEnchantress LENORMAND is a fun divination tool with all the traditional symbols and meanings, with the added bonus of Cherry's fairy tale story of how she entered this world and all her adventures along her path. And so that was my intention, to kind of give a backstory to CherryEnchantress, a character, or however you want to see CherryEnchantress. Me, mixed with fantasy and some reality. And so let's look at the book first. This is called the Saddle Hewn, and look at that, isn't that so adorable? And then I also inside, I was able to get that picture inside, so just really well done. I'm so happy that how it turned out. So CherryEnchantress LENORMAND book. Now, how many, we see this? So the introduction says, once upon a time, there was a young prince who lived in a vast kingdom. His castle, along with cozy romantic villages, was nestled in a great forest with many tall trees and some smaller trees, like the cherry tree. Oh, wait, it's not. It's not. The prince enjoyed visiting all the sights his kingdom had to offer, but he was especially intrigued with the deep, mysterious forest. As the prince grew older, he became more curious and adventurous. One day, he roamed farther through the thick forest lands than he ever had before. Not Many knew, especially not the human world, that within the forest was a fairyland. Most humans believed the fairyland was a myth or legend because the fairies joyfully frolicked and fluttered about, never to be noticed and always undercover, only appearing as flickering lights to the humans. Fairy law declared that they stay small and hidden, but on occasion a fairy would grow to human size for special tasks. It was one of these days when the fairy princess, in full human size, ventured close to the border of the forest. Good story, eh? At first, all the prince could see was a glowing light that permeated the woods. His eyes adjusted to the light as he focused on the form before him. He heard a small gasp that sounded like tiny bells ringing. The princess looked up from her task and stared at the most handsome being she had ever seen. The prince likewise had never seen a maiden as fair and beautiful as the fairy princess. This is how CherryEnchantress's parents met. Named Cherry, for she was born under a cherry tree. Cherry lived happily with her fairy mother and human father in their castle, but she never fully knew her mother was Fae until one day when her mother passed away. On that sad day, her father told her of her secret birth. She was half human, half fairy. Cherry longed to know more about her mother and where she came from. With the same wanderlust and yearning as her father, Cherry went back into the forest of her birth and heritage. There she would find herself, sprout her wings, and embark on her journey. All right, and so this page will show you sort of the key, so you can see. It's saying, let CherryEnchantress Fairy Tale Lenormand. Why is it not focusing? I'm going to turn off the upper light. Maybe it doesn't want to. Well, I'll keep it on because I want to be able to see the rainbow. So this is saying, let CherryEnchantress's Fairy Tale Lenormand help you down your path, and let this booklet be your guide to the card's messages that light the way. And so the first thing you'll see on for each card is a quick answer, yes, no, or maybe. So if you guys know me and you follow me, you know that I of all the things that I've used to divine timing, it's been the Lenormand that's really clues me in on timing. And sometimes I get real specific dates and also answers. And so that's why I'm breaking it down. So we'll have keywords, we'll have timing, and then the little bit of the story that goes behind it as Cherry travels through fairyland. And each also card is equivalent to a suit of the regular playing cards, as in cardomancy. So keep an eye on that too. It could be significant. So we're going to get into the story a little bit. I might not show you everyone because I want well, maybe I will. Okay, so the story behind the writer, so you can see the answer is yes, the keywords, the timing, and then the story. Very simple. Cherry enjoys visiting the Mermaid Cove. So that's basically how it goes for each one. Just a real brief little key book for each card. And I'm not going to give away the story. You have to buy the deck to learn the story of CherryEnchantress. And the only way you can get it will be through makeplayingcards.com, and I'll post my link, but yeah, I still haven't put it up yet for sale. Just wanted to look at it first to make sure I liked it. I like it so far. It looks good. It looks good. Oh, and by the way, that's what I wanted to say. Talk about now. This paper is super nice. It's very nice texture quality. It's saddle hewn, so it's like sewed, stitched in the middle. Very easy way of doing the book. You choose 48 pages, then you just upload your images for each page. So that was pretty nice. I wasn't paying attention to my numbers. I like reviewed and reviewed over and over again, made sure I spelt everything correctly. So if you guys see any misspellings, let me know. And I numbered everything correctly. I'm not necessarily consider myself an author. So, book kind of stuff is sort of a new thing. So here's a little example of equations. Now, I'll read this last part for you. And you guys that know also use the Lenormand kind of like an equation. Let me turn off the overhead light so you can see this better. So the Lenormand was named after a famous French fortune teller, yet its origins are German. One can pronounce it in French or in German, and they both would be right. So I say Lenormand, more of the German way because I'm German. And but you can say Lenormand, that's good, or however you want to pronounce it. I think all ways are fine. There are various ways to use the Lenormand, but because of the simple symbols of each card, a reading is most effective if at least 2 cards are used. The larger readings are called grand tableaus, where the reader lays out many cards on the table to see the connection and the cards made all together. That's very productive. And by the way, Denise, I'll have to post her name down below, but she does some really amazing grand tableau readings, especially right now dealing with politics. If you're interested, I like her style. So the Lenormand is a divination tool to find timing of a situation. That's the way I like to use it. And I use at least 3 cards at a time. And the Lenormand reading is like a mathematical equation to me. So here are some examples of equations you can use for your divination. So like the child plus the stork plus the anchor would equal a full-term pregnancy. The prince plus the heart plus the ship could be a man traveling because he's pulled by love, or something having to do with a long-distance love, but there could be a travel situation involved. The fairy plus the bouquet plus the birds could be people are talking about your beauty. And there's lots of variations to the theme, but sometimes, so that's where spirit comes in, where I have to just use my intuition too in the moment. So the combination of these keywords, these equations, and my intuition is how I come up with your readings using the Lenormand. The house, the clover, and the heart as a timing could be May 2nd of 2024 because of their number messages within them. So yeah. So with additional messages, this also has the additional message that it's a lucky loving event that will happen maybe at your home or a small building. Sometimes just one card can be the answer to your timing question, like if the rider came out, so it could be like a yes, in a day, week, or month, something's going to happen. There's many ways to interpret the cards, but I always refer back to the question asked. So using the Lenormand is great for answering specific questions. But if the clouds or the book show up, sometimes the answer is not ready to be revealed. So the spirit also uses its discretion when and why and how to reveal things to you. So remember that too when you're divining, and not just with the Lenormand, with all divination. There's also kind of a timing when to release information as well. And as far as divination is concerned, it's important to know that Spirit doesn't want you to get into a sabotage mode where you block the energy for something to come into your life. So sometimes when you know too much too soon, you could accidentally be a block to that energy. So that's another reason why sometimes we don't know things when we want to. And okay, so let's look at these cards. I'm so excited. I'm going to get that wrapping off and see the framing around it turned out very nice. And then there we go with the rainbow edge and my pretty like cherry blossom background. Turned out so nice. All right. Now, I've made a promise that once I got this deck, then... Oh, I scratched it a little. Once I got this deck, I would do more daily readings with this instead of any other deck. All right, so I need like a really clear, sharp focus. Let's see. Focused, center, super center, focus. Maybe I'll open the window for some brightness. A little bit of brightness. Oh, that's too much. That's a little bit. Okay. All right, here we have. Okay, let me just. The Rider. The Clover. This is based after my niece Linnea. The ship, like the ship of Peter Pan. The house. The tree, cherry tree, and little cherry born under the cherry tree. The clouds. The clouds have two sides to it. One is uncertainty, and one is, breaking through the clouds, silver lining, rainbows, possibilities. Look for what's beyond the clouds. The snake. The snake can have sometimes negative connotations, but it can also represent sexuality and sensuality. Her eyes came out better than I thought. Very nice. We have the coffin. So the coffin to me can be lots of things too, but it makes me, this one I kind of based it more on a Snow White kind of energy, like a waiting period, like a cocoon, like about ready to come to life. The bouquet. There's my sister. The scythe. The scythe is also said to be a kind of a negative card, but I call this my divine timing card. And also, I feel like the scythe deserves a bit of magic behind it, like some kind of magic weapon, some kind of magic timing. Yeah, divine. There's the whip. The whip can represent lots of things too. Sometimes it represents heated discussions, but it also can represent sexuality. And I feel like in this case it's really bold, feminine energy, speaking their minds kind of quality here. See if I can get this. I wonder if I go back to multi. That'll help. Something I did with the cards is I added a little bit of a kind of a finish. I don't know if you can see, but instead of like just being completely matte, I added like a little flex to help soften it, so it gives it a softer look. The child. There's Cherry playing with the berries. The fox. The fox too can be sneaky and deceptive, but also clever and able to uncover mysteries and stuff. He could be your private investigator. The bear can be somewhat domineering sometimes, but also very lovable and protective. This bear reminds me of that one. Several fairy tale type stories come together, and the rainbow's there. The stars. The stars is, very beautiful, hopeful, very much like the tarot. And in this one, I just decided to give it a little bit of romance, so like a little fairy proposal here. The stork. Stork delivering. This would be definitely a good delivering baby, but stork can represent any kind of addition to your family or addition to your life or up-leveling in your family, your romance or whatever. A lot of times you'll see two storks, and which represents love and romance and partnerships and long-term energy too, because storks mate for life. So that meaning will always be there too. The dog reminds me of my little dog that I had once. He had a heart-shaped nose, and so the dog represents soulmates and best friends and loyalty. The tower is not like the tower in the tarot. It's more about places. It can be about tall buildings, destinations. It can represent bureaucracy, government, paperwork. It can represent official things being done. It could also, I mean, like in my case, it can represent a vacation or fantasy or Disney, maybe. The fairy garden. It also kind of gives me Wizard of Oz, like the Emerald City energy, you know, like that final goal. And also it reminds me a little bit of the castle is like the castle when Snow White and the prince, you know, run off to the castle, or Cinderella and the prince being married in the castle, or Belle, Beauty and the Beast, you know, the castle transforms too. It's like castles are like real important. It's kind of also gives me Encanto energy, although Encanto is a little bit more like tarot tower. All right, so we've got the fairy garden. I love this one. I'm also been working on a tarot deck, and I'm getting very excited about it. I have a lot of the major arcana already done, enough to make a calendar out of it. So maybe I'll show you my calendar too when I finish that. Then I have the mountain. I could probably make a calendar for you, for anybody that wanted it without my special dates, but I put a bunch of birthdays on it. It's kind of personal. It's like got my family in it. So so this is Crossroads. This one comes from a real life moment I had. It wasn't, well, it was an actual crossroads. It was a path that I was going down, and I was just doing a daily walk, and there was a deer on one side and then the path on the other, and I was like, and then the deer turns around and walks down the path. I was like, I think I'm supposed to follow the deer. So the mice always gives me a little trouble, because I don't like to think of mice completely as negative, but it's supposed to be about deterioration or gnawing. It could be something that you're just thinking about that's gnawing at you. It could represent something that's unraveling or unwinding. But the mice can also, I like the aspect of the mice in Cinderella, like little helper elves that get something done behind the scenes that you don't, and kind of surprise you when you wake up and something was done that you were stressing over, but somebody else took care of it. So I wanted to add that message to the mice too. And then the hearts, of course, that's love. And this one especially, I feel like a silver thread, a connection like twin flames, that nothing can sever this connection. The ring. I was very excited. Now, a lot of people wonder, like, who is that guy? Well, I started off with the picture of who did I use? That's what I was going to do the first time, get the charger. Anyway, Henry Cavill was the person who I kind of based this after initially, and then I just kind of added some different features, mostly my features. So I made a man version of me. All right, and so we have the book of secrets and mystery and fairy tales. I like this one. And the letter, which is a picture of my daughter. And the prince, which represents the gentleman. Or my dad. It's actually my dad's face when he was younger. Let's see if I can get that really. Come on. Zoom in. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, I see. It just likes a certain distance. Anyway, you'll see it. You'll see these more and more every day when I use them for all kinds of occasions. The daily dust, going live. There is the fairy princess, my mother, which is not really a picture of my mother, but Cherry's mother. There is the lilies representing age and wisdom. So I had to get like a little bit of an older man there. Sexuality too, so he's kind of got that look on his face. Turned out pretty good. I was a little worried about the lilies, didn't know if he was gonna look good. Then we have the sun. Sun is just like brightness. It's like oftentimes fairies kind of get lost in the lights of the sun and the moon and the stars, and they're there and you just don't even realize it. And then there's the moon. And the key opens things, unlocks secrets, unlocks anything, can lock things as well. So it also represents safety and security, and also opening things up and access and solutions. One of my favorite ones. And then we have the fish. Also one of my favorites, and representing wealth and money and abundance and going with the flow, fertility too. And the anchor, stability, can also represent seasides and ports. So if you're wondering about location, then the anchor's there. And then there's my sister again. My beautiful redhead sister. And then instead of the cross, I decided to do a coexist kind of energy, like representing any kind of faith. The cross is there, you know, but the rest of them, all the different religions or no religion, or however you want to live your life, it's important to see the cross as not just a burden, but also a boost of faith, you know. So I wanted the cross to have a multiple meaning like that, and I didn't want it to be just a heavy energy about burdens. I wanted to see it as a positive energy of faith. Let me see what I wrote about the cross in here. So curious what were my wise words here. So the answer will be no, but sometimes you need an answer that says no. The key words are burden, destiny, hope, karma, religion, faith, religious person, some kind of fate or higher power comes in. Sometimes it's the trials of life, but this thing that you have to overcome in order to evolve, right? Prayers answered as well, and troubles over, and coexistence. Coexistence meaning all of us getting along together, like no matter who we are. And then the timing is immediately. And so the story goes, with all the ups and downs along the path of Cherry's journey, it wasn't one particular religion that guided her, but having faith in a higher power and the ability to coexist in a vast world full of many creatures and species filled her with strength of purpose. Ultimately for Cherry, it was self-love and having faith in herself that was the most powerful energy of all. The end. Or is it just the beginning? So yeah, I'm like very proud of my little baby, so I hope you liked it. The CherryEnchantress LENORMAND gives you a little bit of story, and also I'm sorry for the lighting and stuff, like hopefully I can correct and make it a little bit crisper in the in editing, but you'll see a lot more of this deck from days to come. And if you want to buy it yourself, I will try to make sure that Make Playing Cards does upload it into my store, makes it live, makes it available for you guys to purchase. I think like there's nothing wrong with it. It looks great to me, so I think this is good to go. All right, so I hope you like that. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust. and if you're interested in any of the other decks, definitely go ahead and buy some. My second store is called Printer Studio, and there is a sale on Printer Studio, which it doesn't have these nice boxes. They're just those decks just come in nice cardboard white boxes. So you save a little money that way if it doesn't really matter to you if you get a fancy box or not. But yeah, there's a sale there if you want to check them out. And I posted a coupon in my community page if you want to use that. I don't know, Make Playing Cards don't always has coupons, but as soon as it does, I will post that also in the community page. So again, Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust.